And welcome everybody. It's Sunday night, and this is in the batter's box, the NGSC Sports weekly baseball show. I'm your host, Rob Garcia, of course, joined by the co-hosts. But first, remember the website. It is ngscsports.com, where you catch all of your current content. You log on to the website right now. Matthew Wilder gave us the NFL Week 3 Game of the Week. Buccaneers, Eagles, big day in the NFL. If you weren't paying attention, you were able to watch a college football game in the NFL today when the Miami Dolphins racked up 729 yards of offense and 70 points. Sounds like a college football game, John. Sounds like a college football game. That's pretty bad. That was pretty bad. My type.
The strange thing, it's not a record.
No, just missed it. Second most points, second most yards. But wow, well, I mean that's a bad beatdown in college. It's an awful beatdown in the NFL. Unfortunately, also Texas Southern drops a back and forth contest at Grambling. Stayed a rough start for Texas Southern football. They have homecoming next week. Alton Barry will be sitting in the press box for NGSC Sports covering Texas Southern. John Doucette will be in the booth, the box, let's call it, for cover Boston College next weekend. I will be in the press box in Memphis, Tennessee, covering Memphis Tigers football. Alejandro will be at the beach somewhere, and Louis will still be believing that the Yankees are still in the hunt for the last wild.
No, I just found out about an hour ago that they have now been officially eliminated.
We told you so.
I didn't think that was gonna stop you from believing, Louis. Boston College gives us. Boston College gives us beef. Boston College drops ACC road opener at Louisville. John, I heard that BC stunk up the place.
Yeah, when you give up over almost 600 yards of total offense and almost 400 yards through the air, that's going to be a bad day. They were down 28-0 before they ever got their offense on track, and it was an uphill battle all day. And over the last 30 games for Boston College, they've now gone 6-24. They've got to find ways to turn this thing around because it's a ship that's taken on water.
And that's never a good way to go down the stream when you're boat. All that and more, of course, on NGSCSports.com, where we never stop. Of course, we go to the co-host from Jersey, now in full acceptance. That is Yankees that I truly hate have been eliminated. And finally, I can exhale as the Yankees are now officially eliminated from postseason play. He is also the host of the Enhanced Sports Show. Saturdays 4 to 6 p.m. It is Sunday. You've got time to call in. You might even be able to get in if you start calling Thursday morning. But I mean, that would be Thursday morning right after midnight. You probably want to start calling in.
6 a.m.
He is the co-host of In the Batter's Box, Mr. Louis Gino.
I like that background music.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm going to get some more in the postseason. I'll make sure. Well, let's go around the horn, of course. From Chicago, co-host of In the Batter's Box, El Padre still.
Hey.
Alejandro.
Enjoying that background on Lake Michigan, man.
Yeah. I got to give you a quick one in a second.
Hey, by the way, in Louis' defense, I mean, we all been eliminated, so don't feel bad, Louis.
Oh, yeah.
My team was
Right.
eliminated in
It's
May.
true.
So
Yeah, yeah. Mine
Go
was
on.
eliminated. Mine was eliminated in June.
in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course the other co-host in the batter's box, my damn good friend and partner, Mr. John Doucette.
Ralph, it's always good to be with you.
John, you feeling that background music, John, a little bit?
What's that?
You liking that background music?
Yeah, it's not bad. Actually, it's not bad.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do eventually is incorporate some sounds in here. Welcome to StreamYard, everybody. We're now broadcasting on StreamYard. What we'll be allowed to do in the future, as I said, I'm going to have an intro. I have an intro in the works for the show, as I do have for the other two shows. And so we'll have a nice musical intro with some baseball video and sounds. I'll download some and upload some baseball sounds MP3. And what I'm going to make sure to try to do is some of the best audio of the week. I'll start this week, which is the final week of the regular season, final 10 days or so of the regular season. I'll get some of the greatest audio, the best audio clips in baseball this past week. And next week, play some, and we'll start enjoying some of the features that we're given here in StreamYard. Those of you that are with us watching the show.
Those crowds this weekend, man, they were crazy.
Great crowd.
Yeah.
Great crowd. Of course, we are live on StreamYard on the NGSC Sports Facebook page. We're also live on the NGSC Sports Twitter page, as well as the NGSC Sports YouTube page. Please go to the YouTube page, like the YouTube page, please subscribe. And it is baseball time. Louis used to this. I don't know if Alejandro has seen any of this, but we'll give Alejandro a taste of what StreamYard also brings as we bring our first topic of the night here. And you know what I noticed that I didn't do? Very interesting.
Yes.
Let me help Alejandro with this even better. You ready, Alejandro?
Let's go for it. I mean, I don't know.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh man,
Little
Yeah,
I feel like
on the page. There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in Times Square.
There you go.
Right.
All right. So our first topic up, we've been talking about this for some years now. Alejandro talked about the crowds this weekend. One of the places you never really have to worry about crowds is at baseball stadiums in Florida, and how much that has really hurt the Tampa Bay Rays. And many questions of, would the Rays relocate as another team? Would they relocate to another team? Where would they go? Who would they become? John, looks like that question's been answered.
Yeah, finally, it looks like the Tampa Bay Rays are going to stay home after all and build a brand new ballpark and what's going to be the parking lot that where Tropicana Field is now located is where this new 30,000 seat ballpark that can accommodate 35,000 people based on events and based on anything else that they may have going on down there. It's a $1.3 billion project that is been agreed upon by St. Petersburg, the Pinellas County representatives, and the Tampa Bay Rays themselves. The Rays are going to pay more than half of the $1.3 billion, as well as any cost overruns.
Wow!
To get this thing started.
Yeah.
Wow. Excuse me. The city of St. Petersburg and Pinellas County are going to pay up to $600 million to get this thing going. The ballpark is going to have 3 levels of seating, as well as I guess the best way to put it would be the turf will maintain the same. It'll still be field turf like it's been. They're going to have a fixed roof with this ballpark. They're going to have some pavilion designs as well. I mean, they're really going to create a much different atmosphere and look than what Tropicana Field presents at the moment. And it's going to also present some 4,500 construction jobs and up to about 15,000 permanent jobs in that area. So that's good news as well. And I would think that An all-star game is going to be in its future as well once this ballpark is up and running. And they expect to have this thing up and running by, I believe it's 2026, which I think is somewhat ambitious, but considering the fact that they don't have to move that far to be able to build this thing, maybe they can get this thing done in 2 years.
I heard 2028 actually.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if it's a 35,000 seater,
yeah. Well, because the lease is up in 2027, so I heard that 2020 of the date.
I mean, 2026 is probably a good estimation because it's only a 35,000 seater, so it's not like a Dodger Stadium you build in there.
Right.
What I don't like is going to be still in St. Petersburg, which is, I don't know. I mean, baseball fans there are not that engaged. I mean, I would prefer to move it to Tampa, regular Tampa. But I like it. I saw the blueprints of that. I like the 3D. I like the design. I like that it's not too ambitious. I love 35,000 seats for a small market team. The same thing is happening in Vegas with the Oakland A's. Later on, if they want to add, yeah, they should. But I like it though. I just don't like the location.
I think it's because of the lack of ways to get in and out. Apparently, is one of the problems with where the ballpark is located. I guess it's one way into it and one way out, and that does cause some issues when you do have large crowds that show up when, say, the Yankees or the Red Sox or someone of that nature shows up in that ballpark for a weekend series. But I guess other than that, I think the good news here is that it's finally done and over with. Tampa Bay knows where they're going to be. Major League Baseball knows where they're going to be. And so you don't have to consider or even continue the conversation of what to do with them down the road. It's now been taken care of.
That's about time.
I was reading that here in the Tampa Bay Times, reading on the stadium, that the owner, Stuart Sternberg, said there's no way of knowing yet how their business model could change, and noted significant amount of money the team is paying towards the stadium, an estimated $700 million, plus being responsible for any cost overruns, with the city and the county splitting the other $600 million. But he said the increased revenue stream should not only lead to higher payrolls, that's big part of the equation, he said, but could evenly potentially change their stadium as a team that receives hefty revenue sharing payments from larger market clubs, noting how the Padres made the very rare switch from recipient to payer. Right, what's with the laugh?
Oh, I love it. I mean, they milking the system, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, especially this year because of the amount of money they're going to get from the Mets and the amount of money they're going to get from the Padres combined. They're going to do rather well this year when it comes to the revenue sharing payments when they're eventually made.
The weird thing is, like, what is Pittsburgh doing with their money, right?
True. Good.
Yeah.
True.
Putting a good chunk in his pocket. But here's my thing. Haven't we been talking about how the Rays have been successful with their payroll, the way it's been, the way they developed the farm team and all? So kind of like when I read that part right there earlier, and I'm rereading it now, it was kind of like, okay, so it would create a larger payroll, but John, Tampa Bay has done this without having to go a larger payroll and has proven what of a success it's been.
Well, their business model, no question, has been very good. It's been very successful. It really does fit the location that they're in. And I think the business model, although it may change somewhat based on the added revenue streams that this team is going to create for itself, I still think that we're not talking about a team that's going to significantly upgrade their payroll just based on the fact that they have a new ballpark and can potentially make some money in some different areas. I do think this team is still going to continue to be what they have been because it's worked, and it just provides them with a comfortable environment to play in. Look, Tropicana Field is just a bad looking ballpark, period. And they had to get out of there in any way, shape, or form. And they finally figured out a way to do it. If that means that they increase their payroll somewhat, so be it. But where they were located and where they were playing, they had to move on from that.
No, and I like that they did it for the home fans as well. I mean, because, it's the home fans that suffer the most when you're thinking all these years, eventually our team's going to leave. Our team's going to leave. But of course, I'm talking about the ones who are committed to the Rays.
Right.
My thing is now, Alejandro and Louis, is how does this ensure that they're going to put more people in the seats?
Yeah,
I mean, yes, the attendance has been better, Louis, but still, at 35,000, you're not being too ambitious about that either, are you?
No, and because they only draw like about 10 to 12,000 a game. I mean, even the A's did better than that. I mean, it's really a shame to see how a team that's done so well in the last 5 years alone, and they can't even draw flies at their home games. So
I think they'll put more people in seats because it'll be a newer looking ballpark. I think that's what will help them out. A new setting, new environment, new everything. And I think if they do it right, I think that the new people that come into that ballpark, I think, may become visitors that show up more often than not.
Maybe.
A couple of good bullet points again from this article. Speaking, John mentioned some of the amenities there. Says the state-of-the-art amenities in the new 30,000-seat stadium, they say, will be the best ballpark in America. I got to see that. Including windows, operable walls, creative seating options, a cooler raised tank, and a bunch of things that makes kids go wild. Also, the enhanced game day experience created by the surrounding development of bars, restaurants, shops, a music hall, and other public spaces. I got to tell you guys something. That's one of the things, right, Alejandro? That's one of the things that happens here in Nashville. That's part of the new Tennessee Titans Stadium. We know we know a sports stadium as a venue where they play the sport we go see. And then there are concession stands where we go get food. And then as the years have progressed, you'll have a team store or something in there. The concept now for the future, at least for this future right now, is not just giving you the stadium experience, but giving you the shopping experience, the dining experience, the entertainment. Think about it, a music hall, other public spaces.
I like that.
In other words, we're going to give you more than one reason, more than just baseball to come here. But at the same time, we'd appreciate if you come on into the film to watch the game.
That is, it's innovative and it's innovating and some people might find that beautiful, but I think sometimes when you put too much, it's just way too much. I hate to be a Yogi Berra type of Berra news here, but it's just quoting Yogi Berra. I don't know. I think it's way too much things going on for a ball game nowadays is like 2 hours. You're not going to have time to catch the baseball game. But I don't know. Yeah. I think it's just way too much. I like traditional parks. I like parks. I mean, I like parks with attraction.
I think the idea would be to get them in early, get them plenty of people in to enjoy the experience of what the stadium brings, of all the amenities, of all the shops, of all the different things that you could do. And then when it's game time,
you have no money left to buy beer.
Exactly.
No, great.
But John, you get where I'm going. And after the game, maybe they'll stick around, do some more shopping. It's all raised revenue,
Well, I think that's what professional sport teams are starting to do now. They're starting to create their own entertainment complex. It's not just the actual stadium itself or the ballpark itself. It's restaurants, it's bars, it's whatever else they can put into an acre's worth of land, and that seems to be the model that all these teams are doing. I mean, this site is going to be built on 15 to 20 acres of land. And so if you're going to use all of that land, then you're going to build more than just a ballpark on it. And that's what they plan to do.
Yeah, and the article finishes up these last two bullet points here. The continuing growth of downtown St. Petersburg, which is in the midst of a building boom that will be further enhanced by the Rays Heinz Company development around the stadium, as well as the overall greater Tampa Bay region, coupled with some slight improvements to transportation, such as the expanded Howard Franklin Bridge, and an increase in corporate support in terms of sponsorship and sales of suites and or premium seating areas. That last one, of course, being very important, because none of this makes any sense if you don't sell more of those suites, more of the premium seating, and more seats, period. I mean, to me, without that, it's going to fall flat on its face, John.
And I think the other thing is that we're talking about a ballpark that's going to become a multi-purpose facility. There's going to be more than just baseball games played in this event, in this venue, rather. There'll be concerts there. There'll be other things in there that will really make this a place where people in the St. Petersburg, Tampa Bay area are going to want to go to more often than just to watch ED games or whatever it is of Tampa Bay Ray baseball. They're going to go there for other things as well. And I think that's really what this is all about. It's a year-round venue that they're building, as opposed to something that's going to be used for just 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, they have that blessing. It's just all year round. I mean, they good weather.
Right.
That could be a problem at the same time too.
No, I'm saying, like, I mean, in terms of region, I mean, that's perfect, but there's going to be challenges. I mean, they still got to put a good product on the field.
Right, but I think even in those times when they don't have a good product on the field, they can sort of make up for it by putting other things in that venue that can kind of hide the fact that they don't have a good team there, with concerts and other type of shows that they can find. I'm sure that being able to persuade entertainment sources to come to Tampa, St. Petersburg isn't going to be all that difficult. And so in those years when that team is not very good, they can still find other ways to make money with other events going in that park.
Before we move, I want to say something. Ralph touched into the business model of the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, I think they took Moneyball, right? Moneyball was a OPS focused strategy. Tampa Bay added whip, which is pitching, walks and hits per innings pitch, and combine it, and they took off. I mean, they like Moneyball and another level.
So as long as they keep the Moneyball theory, even in a new ballpark where they can generate more revenue from different areas and different streams, as long as they maintain the Moneyball theory, they should be fine.
Well, Sternberg is talking about being able to use the extra income to increase payrolls, therefore taking some of that, at least that aspect away from it. But more importantly, guys, that isn't just, the team's goal, just the team, not the shops or any of the entertainment, but the team itself is you got to put more people in the seats, okay? That's been the big issue in Tampa Bay for so many years, in Miami for so many years, is filling the seats. But in order to fill the seats, Louis, Sternberg and the Rays have to reach the fans. They have to reach the baseball fan inside. They have to reach the casual baseball fan that comes every once in a while. And they've got to convince them that now we've invested in the team and in the city and in you, the fans. We need you to invest back in us, your emotions, your dedication to us, because this is it's a 30-year lease with an option for 10 more. So, Louis, they're gonna bank on these people really being invested, Louis.
They better.
One thing we have forgot talking about. What are they gonna do with Wander Franco's contract?
Well, they may not have to do anything. If Major League Baseball does it for them, the contract becomes null and void.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw it.
That's the thing, Alejandro. Baseball's got the option to drop the hammer on them, and they do.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay's got nothing to worry about. All that money comes back to them, and they can reinvest that money back into the organization in a variety of ways that can help them to sustain what they've been able to sustain for what appears to be almost 10 years now.
Okay, hold on, John. Go on what you said. Do you think Wander Franco's done?
Boy, it doesn't sound like he's coming back anytime soon.
No.
I mean, look, I don't think Tampa Bay's got to worry about next year. He's going to get automatically suspended for next year. So that's 1 year of that contract
Yes.
has already been taken care of.
Somebody's going to.
He's done.
Somebody's going to get this kid in the future.
Based on
Somebody.
what he's been accused of, I think that's going to be awfully difficult.
I hope not.
I mean, there's one thing. It's probably domestic violence, but when you have like that type of sexual conduct,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not knocking on the guy. I don't know because he's not, he hasn't been trial yet, so I don't know. But it's just a tricky path there to come back.
I mean, especially in Tampa Bay's case, now that you have this new ballpark that's now been taken care of, you want to provide corporate sponsors, local corporate sponsors, with a reason to be a part of this. And if you decide to bring somebody back whose character has certainly been questioned rather severely by far too many people, that could be the kind of thing that keeps people away. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what Tampa Bay is going to do is they're just going to hand this over to Major League Baseball and basically say, okay, he's your problem. Do with what you want. And stay out of it as best they possibly can, which is what the Dodgers are doing with Urias. The same thing. They're just going to hand it to Major League Baseball and let them decide what his fate may or may not be.
Yes.
That way, the ball clubs themselves don't have to get involved in the public relations part of defending decisions one way or the other.
I like that they have the farm system to back up that position. I think Junior Caminero is a kid that has a lot of upside. I think they drafted a couple of guys playing field this past draft, so they not that bad there. What I just wonder, will they like trying to extend guys now without reaching arbitration? I mean, you have to let people mature in order to just like put tons of money into a large contract. I don't know.
Well, okay. For instance, does this help Tampa Bay keep Tyler Glasnow? I would think it does.
Yeah, Tyler Glasnow is a mature.
Oh, yeah.
He's not 20.
But
He's
I
not
mean,
gonna do
his arbitration years are about to come to an end pretty soon, and so this ballpark might in fact help them to keep him for an extended period of time, as opposed to what would have happened, which means they would have put him on the trade market and they got a bunch of kids for him and just continued on.
I remember that they also dealing with like 3 Tommy Johns.
Right.
So if they don't keep Glass now, I mean, how the pitching is going to look.
Well, I don't see them not keeping him.
No, I mean, if he's still not under control, if he's under control, I think they're probably going to go year to year until they feel like everybody else is ready. Because Tyler Glasnow is
some of the people that Tampa Bay let go based on where they were playing and the lack of money that Tropicana Field was generating for them. Now all of a sudden it's kind of flipped for them. It does provide a brave new world that they're going to have to figure out from a financial point of view.
How many years of control you have?
I don't know.
Maybe like 2 or 3.
Probably 2 or 3 more years, and then you've got to make the decision, which would be just about the time this ballpark is ready to be opened.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck to the Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa Rays, and in the stadium, and let's hope that 30-year investment, possibly 40, it's a big investment, and they're banking on the model that sports franchises are using now, investing in not just a ballpark, but
the entertainment part.
Entertainment. And
I mean, look, the WWE is showing up at Tropicana Field in January. Okay,
right
now, why are they doing that? I mean, that ballpark is just not associated with what they've been doing in terms of indoor stadiums for their major pay-per-views. And it's a dump of a ballpark to begin with. I'm kind of surprised that they would have decided to take this route, but I'm assuming that with this new venue and ballpark and the whole bit, these are the kind of events that they're going to try and attract to the Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area. Events like this. That's what they're interested in.
Well, if you've got a booming city, a booming industry, a booming downtown, this is what you want to do. These are the things, I've watched it happen. I've watched Nashville, Tennessee go from this little country music town, literally a small little country music city, into this absolute boom. My wife's family was here a couple of weeks ago from Texas. We went downtown on a Saturday, and I've been to downtown Nashville. I couldn't take thousands of times, but this particular Saturday, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, was incredible. This place is absolutely jam packed. There's a place called Prince's Hot Chicken, world famous here.
Oh yeah.
Started very small. When I went to Prince's, they were 10 years old, 30 years ago. A small little store in the neighborhood. Now they have a spot in the mall in downtown Nashville, and they're making a fortune. And this is everywhere. There's all kinds of places to go in Nashville now, all kinds of businesses, all of this entertainment that I would assume that Tampa and downtown Tampa St. Pete is looking to become.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. Next up on the docket, boys. Louis. Hey, Louis. You know what?
Yeah.
Love them Yankees. Love them Yankees today. Love them Yankees today.
Sure. I'm sure.
Great to be a Yankee today. Great to be a Yankee fan, at least, not a Yankee. So John tells me, and I always take John's word for it when it comes to baseball. John, we've got an Arizona Fall League roster all set. What's it looking like?
Well, Arizona Fall League play begins on October the 2nd, and it will run through November 9th for their regular season. And then the playoffs, the 2 semifinal games take place on the 10th, and then the championship game itself is on the 11th. There are 10 top 100 Major League Baseball prospects that will be making their way to Arizona probably this week, and certainly by the time next weekend arrives, to begin playing the Arizona Fall League, to really kind of cement or for that matter, establish themselves in terms of moving up in the ranks of their particular organizations and potentially ending up on 40-man rosters.
Not bad. And the roster is looking like, let's see, 10 of the MLB pipeline's top 100 prospects heading to this year's showcase, with the Guardians and Tigers leading the way.
Only 10?
Yeah, it's only 10 top 100 prospects this time. Only 10 of them.
I'm checking the rosters from every other team.
Colson Montgomery of the White Sox, shortstop. Carson Williams, shortstop of the Rays. Ricky Tiedemann, left-handed pitcher from the Blue Jays. Harry Ford, catcher of the Mariners. Jackson
Job is good, nasty too.
Yeah.
Kyle Manzardo, first baseman of the Guardians. Jace Young, second baseman of the Tigers. Kelvin Alcantara, outfielder of the Cubs. Chase DeLauder, outfielder of the Guardians. And Kevin Parada, catcher of the Mets.
The two guys that I'm most interested in would be Harry Ford of the Mariners, who is their number one prospect and probably the number one minor league catching prospect, who this past year at High A had 15 home runs, 24 stolen bases, and 103 walks. He has a very good command of the strike zone. And for those people that remember the World Baseball Classic from this past March, he played for Great Britain in that tournament. Last September helped them to gain the spot in that tournament, and then played in that tournament when it got started this past March. He is a guy that I think is going to be a Double-A next year, based on the way he's been moving up through the ranks of the Mariner organization, and I think is somebody that they're going to end up having to make a decision on as far as putting him on the 40-man roster or not. And Ricky Tiedemann is another one. He hasn't pitched all year for the Toronto Blue Jays until this past week. When he finally got on the mound, he threw 4 scoreless innings, and which was very good news for the Blue Jay organization. They're hoping that he makes 5 or 6 starts in Arizona, throws about 30 to 40 innings, and then they too will have to make a decision about him. He was at AAA to make his finally make his debut this week. He's the guy that the Toronto Blue Jays are looking at as a possible entry into that starting rotation for next year, and certainly somebody that they'll consider for that 40-man roster. Those are 2 guys that I think are really the ones to pay attention to when this league gets started next Monday.
Yeah.
Going to be, we'll be paying attention to that here, of course, on the show. You wanted to add something, Alejandro?
Oh yeah, I actually I want to see 2 kids coming out of Detroit, Job and Jace Jung. They doing really good, and I also like. I spoke about the Tigers. I think maybe like a year ago, and I like the development that they have. I mean, they got some kids like Gibson Sawyer Gibson. Forgot his other last name. But right when they get like Casey Mize and everybody else back together, fully healthy rotation, I think one bat that they could add, they're gonna be in business. I have a feeling. Good young team, and under control for a lot of years.
Yeah, Jung had 28 home runs this year at the minor league level. I mean, he really
for a second baseman.
Yeah, he swung the bat well. Job had a 1.61 earned run average and 34 Ks in his last 28 innings pitched, which spans not only high A Western Michigan but also double A Erie. And so that's a kid that's making the move up in the Tiger organization as well. And I think that the money that they're now going to save with the retirement of Cabrera, I think is really going to help them as well, because that's money they can use to reinvest in this organization. And I think that in the long run and even in the short term, that's going to help them to improve in a division that clearly is wide open and probably is going to always be wide open. So I think for the Tigers, they've got to make a decision about Eduardo Rodriguez, who will be a free agent at the end of the year. It looks like they and him may part ways. So that's even more money that they can potentially use to reinvest in this organization. So this team might actually be in pretty good shape in the short term and even in the long term.
Yeah, I think once they get Casey Mize back and Manning, everybody full, that full rotation healthy, maybe they add a bat. Kerry Carpenter's a guy that's is playing pretty well. Carter Meadows is a kid that I like a lot. But Detroit Tigers, they up and coming, so better watch out with them.
They are.
Kevin Pareto is a kid that was
was
with the Mets who came out of Georgia Tech and is looking to really move up and to improve his status as a potential catching prospect for that organization. It may end up being, frankly, the future backstopper of this team when it puts a younger rotation out there. And so his participation in the Arizona Fall League, I think, is going to be big. This is only a 6-week season. People do need to understand that this only lasts for 6 weeks. And so the impression that these guys have to make in a very short period of time does become rather important when you start making decisions about spots on the 40-man roster and even, for that matter, spots on minor league teams for next year.
Well, 2 of my local kids that I like to see is Victor Scott III, who has a record for minor league steals with 95, and Cooper Jerb. I like that kid, the lefty.
95 steals. That is ridiculous at the minor league level.
Thank you, Commissioner.
No mention.
Thank you, Pitch Clock.
I was going to say that, right?
Bigger.
I was going to ask.
He has 95
so
steals.
That is right.
He has 95 steals, yes.
Eat your heart, Ricky Henderson.
You said that's a record, right?
Thank you, Manfred.
I don't know if it's got to be, I don't know. It's going to be close to a record at the minor league level.
I
But I
think
don't know
minor
what the
league,
minor league
minor
level.
league is a record. I
It
think.
is a record.
Mhm. I think it was 92 or something. Though. Yeah.
Listen,
Wow.
95 steals in Major
Nobody
League Baseball
gets
right
to 90 something in the minor leagues and don't get called up. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
That's true.
now. Like, yeah,
It's true.
I can't,
Unreal.
no,
It's unheard of.
if you can't do anything else, you stole 95 bases. I mean, you got to.
Cooper Jerp is another kid that from St. Louis too that I like. I like he's funky. He's like kind of like Chris Sale, Josh Hader type of kid. Very funky. He got drafted last year, John. I think you remember him. I don't remember the college that he was drafted from. But I like him. He's funky. He's a kid that might be on his last bus coming up now. Maybe next year.
We talked about Wander Franco earlier, and I think one kid that, at least in Tampa Bay's shortstop arsenal, we consider would be Carson Williams,
Yes.
who won a minor league Gold Glove last year, and who has really demonstrated that he can play the position very well. Good hands, good feet, the whole bit, and also has some pop in his bat with 23 home runs and 20 stolen bases, playing at High A Bowling Green this year. That might be a kid that eventually becomes the future shortstop of this team, based on whatever final decision that Major League Baseball happens to make about Franco, whenever that comes.
I think Junior Caminero is probably going to end up in second, and Isai Paredes is a guy that's been really underrated and undervalued by most people, but he just hit 30 home runs and 95 RBIs today. I mean, that's a good WAR of 4.0. You can't ask for a guy better than that. I mean, it's a kid that's under the radar. He's putting up numbers, very reliable and super clutch. By the way, I saw him in Team Mexico in the WBC. Yeah. He raked, man. He just got key moments there after key moments.
Yeah.
I think the good thing about minor league baseball is that there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, when the minor league seasons ended on Labor Day itself. And now they're extending into the middle of September and toward the end of September. And so these players are getting a really good, long opportunity to really make the impression on their organizations in terms of being able to move up and in terms of putting themselves in position for at least spring training invitations when those start being headed out. That really is allowing these organizations the opportunity to make some quality decisions about guys that at some point they believe are really going to help these teams to be better and maintain themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, very nice. So we get to the Major League Baseball playoff races.
How interesting is it, by the way? There are very few Yankees in the top 100. If you look at that entire roster, there are very few of them.
Yeah. Speaking of the Yankees, that's how we'll start the playoff race.
I mean, farm systems they fluctuate. You can't really.
No good farm system. And once Judge was hurt, I mean that was a bad sign right there. The Yankees not been the same since like June 3rd when
I have to disagree with you, man. Judge is not a bad signing for the Yankees. I think he's the face of that franchise. He got hurt, but in less than 400 at-bats, he already had like 35 home runs and carried the offense for them. I don't know. I think Mike Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton, that was a bad investment.
Oh, yeah.
But Judge, no, you can't.
Oh, please.
Absolutely, Louis.
Every team has an Achilles heel, and unfortunately, Stanton is ours. Yeah.
Yes.
How about them Yankees?
Stanton, Rizzo.
How about them Yankees in that playoff chase, Louis? How close are they to the second wild card spot, Louis?
Yeah. Now they dropped to a -2. Yeah.
Hey, don't bully him.
No,
we already fried. All four of us are fried.
That's true. That's correct.
I mean, I thought maybe they had a chance, if they would have, won all their main games, which some of you didn't think was going to happen. Then I forgot about Toronto. Like, oh yeah, they're ahead of us.
Yeah.
They are. No. We didn't think.
Toronto.
We knew it was.
Also,
we knew it wasn't happening.
Also, that race in the West is crazy.
Well, one good
Yeah, we're
team
gonna
in the
get-
American League is not going to make the playoffs, and it looks like the Houston Astros right now might be that team.
That's right.
Well, let's see.
Houston,
That
you got a
doesn't-
problem.
That doesn't.
They lost to Kansas
That
today.
doesn't.
I believe they did, yes.
Oh,
The
wow.
Royals, now you're really in trouble.
Wow.
You don't deserve to make it.
The beauty of baseball, the spoilers, huh? People
Yeah.
spoiling.
I
I
mean,
mean,
you
you know,
I
you
love
lose
it.
to a schlub team like that. Chances are that you don't even deserve to make it.
well, I mean, we are
Yeah,
talking
but
about
you
the
know-
defending world champions, Louis. I mean,
Exactly.
easy here.
Royals, the second worst team in all of baseball. Come on.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. I mean, at this time of the year, you cannot take anybody for granted. Teams like
No.
that, they could do more damage than another contender.
Well, it's who damage.
Because they play with nothing to lose.
Right. So
Well,
here would be
Oakland-
my question. If the
Oakland just
Astros
swept them
don't
too.
make the playoffs, does that provide Dusty Baker with the exit?
Well, let's hold on. You know how many wild cards? There's 3
Exactly.
wild cards, right?
Yeah,
I'm
wow.
saying if they don't make it, and right now, I mean, Tampa Bay's got one of those wild cards. Toronto's got the other one, so there's really only one left. And right now, it is between the Rangers and Mariners.
Mariners
Well, you got
beat
Houston
the
and
Rangers
Seattle.
today.
You got Houston and Seattle now playing.
Right, and then Houston and Texas, I think play to end the regular season next weekend.
That's gonna
Well,
be,
that's when the leadership of Dusty Baker is going to have to come out and tell
Right.
these guys, "Hey, boys,
It's gonna be a tough.
look,
It's gonna be tight with
you-
the
what,
you
what,
better
Louis?
get your shit together."
between the Rays and the Orioles. That's gonna come down, I think, to the last game of the season. Who's gonna take the AL East? Because that race is tight as well.
Well,
And the importance of that is staying away from the wild card.
yeah,
first
and the
round.
Orioles now,
Right.
yeah, they got a 2.5 game lead. Their magic number is 3. By the way, behind me, welcome to Camden Yards, one of the most beautiful places you could go to
Yes,
see a baseball game. The Baltimore Orioles, by the way, people, don't suck. They not only
Yeah.
don't
Not anymore.
suck, they have 97 wins. There are
Yep.
140, 150. There are 10 games left to play. So to say that the Orioles are going to win 100 is a foregone
Okay.
conclusion.
In my opinion, they take in that division.
The magic number is
You can.
now reduced to 3.
They actually fresher than the Rays. The Rays have been hampered with injuries. So now
Well, let's
you have
face it,
John-
you're the Baltimore
John
Orioles.
Means.
You want to have that division taken care of before the last weekend
You
shows up.
have to. Yeah.
Yes,
Brandon High is going to have
Right.
to kick it up into another gear. But
by
they
the way,
fresher. They fresher than
Alejandro, I got one for you. Alejandro. You ready?
Go for it.
So the Baltimore Orioles maintain their hold and their lead by any means necessary.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. John Means, he pitched a hell of a game yesterday.
All right.
He's helped. This is like a trade deadline addition, because now you could say actually Tyler Wells came back I think yesterday. He pitched 2 innings. He looked pretty well. The bullpen, I mean, you getting guys like that, you have like Flaherty now that's going to go to the bullpen. Could give you 2-3
That's
innings.
assuming Flaherty's on the roster. Who knows? He may not even make the playoff roster.
You never know. But I like it. They're keeping everybody fresh. They just brought up Heston Kershaw just to keep the outfielder fresh. He's not going. I don't know if he's going to be in the playoff roster, but it's just to get a feed of how their environment is in the major league roster and see a pennant race. So getting him ready for next year. I think that kid is going to be wonderful. To me, he's right now probably one of the favorites to win the Rookie of the Year next year. They are phenomenal, man.
Well, again, and we've talked about it so many times, but their drafting and development has been just frankly top notch, and it'll be interesting to see how that changes now that they don't have top 10 picks, and with making the playoffs, you drop down in the first round of the draft, and even in the remaining rounds that take place. So we'll see how creative they become without having a top 5, top 10 pick. That does become a bit of a challenge, and the interesting part of how well they're going to be able to keep this organization as loaded as it is.
Good thing about Mike Elias, he comes from the St. Louis farm, and he also comes from the Luno school of executives. So St. Louis was a team that never got under 20 draft slot, and they drafted really well. So he's going to have to be creative. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah. And the good news, and the good news for Yankee fans is the fact that they'll have a top 10 pick next year, which I think, frankly, they desperately need.
Yeah.
Just trying to get something here. So we're down to it, boys. We're down to the last 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 10, 9, 10, 11 games of the season. It's winding down, and like you said, that American League West is going to be something to behold down to the wire.
Oh yeah.
Well, like I say, I mean,
and the last wildcard spot too.
Yeah, the last wildcard spot. I mean, like I said, there's going to be a good team in the American League that will not make the playoffs this year, and right now it does appear that the Astros could end up being that team unless they have a really good week, because they're going to face the two teams that they're going to need to beat if they're going to sneak themselves into to October baseball.
Louis, looking at an article from Ryan Hotch in MLB, it's entitled, "There's a lot that went wrong. Yanks to miss the playoffs for the first time since 16. Again, really rough. I mean, I talk a lot about the Yankees, but it's always big news when the Yankees don't make the playoffs.
I don't like where this is going.
Neither do I.
Oh, no. I'm being a fan. I'm not. No, nothing
Okay,
smart. I'm
okay.
being a fan. I mean, when there's a lot of people in the Bronx, a lot of kids, that have. This is what you used to in New York, in the Bronx.
Yeah, we are.
Yankees making a playoff run. Yankees being a threat, and the Yankees being eliminated. Now, both New York teams that, could have probably been expected to make the playoffs early in the season are both out. I know
think more surprising though.
Sorry, Louis.
I think more disappointing though was the Mets, because after all, they did win 102 games last year, and won the division, and then all of a sudden they just crashed and burned this season. I mean, okay, you got rid of your two best players, but I mean, you didn't expect them to finish 30 games below last season. I mean, come on, for crying out loud.
I agree with Louis.
I love how he
What
flipped
the hell was that?
Right?
How did the Mets become more disappointing than the Yankees?
Well, considering they won the division last year, and we're looking to repeat that, maybe even take a step further.
Because of what was expected, John. I agree with him. So much was expected of this New York Met team. So much that Cohen bought and paid for, that literally, I mean, it wasn't like it was a season where the Mets were doing well and they had some bad weeks or some bad breaks. They built a team. They bought a team to win that literally crumbled out the gates. They were never in. There was never any threat. Never any.
Well, neither were the Yankees.
Yeah,
the Yankees were never a threat either.
Well, don't you think
but the Mets more disappointing though? I mean, you have Verlander and Scherzer. Look what they did. Nothing.
Don't you think more was expected of the Mets?
Boy, I would think in New York, it's always going to be Yankees first and then Mets. I mean, it's just always been the way it is.
It'll always be that way. It'll always be that way. But for one season, and depending on the season, what's the story? Well, in this case, the story of what was so much more expected from the Mets in 2023 with that roster that they bought. And that's what I'm talking about. I expected more, and it never materialized. Never.
Well, good thing about the Mets. Good thing about the Mets. Help is on the way. Hopefully, Stern could turn them around. Hopefully, Cohen doesn't get involved and let this guy work his magic. Let him do
Yeah,
what he
because
has to do.
to me, that's the difference here is that the Mets have already decided that changes in the front office need to be made, while the Yankees are still going to keep it status quo. And I think that the status quo in the American League East doesn't work anymore.
True.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. So, I mean, again, this is going to be an interesting close to this postseason. We know the teams that are in, but of course, we're watching what wild card races still play out. We're watching a tight American League West play out. As John mentioned not too long ago, if you're the Baltimore Orioles, your magic number's 3, and you want to get this cleared up in 3 days. You want this done. You want it done now.
I do feel bad for the Arizona Diamondbacks in the sense that they're now going to have to play the next 7 days in a row because apparently they have a makeup game that they're going to have to play tomorrow, and then they had a scheduled off day on Thursday that they're now going to have to squeeze the Chicago White Sox into, and so the Diamondbacks are going to have to play the entire 7 days of next week, and that could affect how their playoff race in the National League rolls out because they don't have much margin for error. And the fact that they're going to have to play every day coming up starting tomorrow becomes rather important for them. They're going to have to figure out how to manage this and how to win games so that they can keep themselves in the hunt and really where they are, which is inside of the wild card race in the National League. But hell, if they have an under 500 week, they're done.
Yeah.
How about postseason baseball in Wrigley?
Yeah, that's
possible.
very possible.
Again, the Cubs, you know what? They made the gutsy move. They kept Stroman. They kept Clay Bellinger. It turned out to be the wise thing to do, and they put themselves in position. But that was a very gutsy decision that they had to make with those two guys because they could easily have improved the future of this organization by trading those two. But instead, they decided that the playoffs made more sense, and it looks like they made the right decision.
That's what you play.
Well, let's see on Stroman because Stroman was hurt for a
True, but they decided that they believed that he'd be ready when it was necessary for him to be ready, and it appears that they made the right call.
He took a gamble, and it seems to have worked out.
Yeah.
So,
John, I heard of Kim and G's. I heard her name mentioned into Shane Bloom replacements.
I've also heard that the Red Sox are interested in Craig Breslow, who is the Cubs minor league pitching coordinator at the moment. And there have been stories going back and forth that the Red Sox and Craig Breslow have kind of reached some sort of an understanding that when the playoff run of the Cubs is over, that he may return to the Red Sox organization. He was a part of their bullpen at one time a few years back, and that he may take over as the minor league pitching coordinator. There have been other reports that are saying that he's going to stay in Chicago with the Cubs based on the fact that this team looks like they're going to make the playoffs. So that's been a story that's been going around as well, that the Red Sox have already started to put together what looks like to be next year's organization, and that Craig Breslow may be a part of it or may not be a part of it. It just depends on who you want to believe.
True. I've heard some. Even Theo Epstein.
Yeah, I've heard that one too. Yes, yeah, I've heard that one too.
Charrington coming back.
Yeah.
Charrington would make sense.
a lot to look forward to, guys.
He had a tough time here the first time.
I like that.
I mean, he did put one World Series team together. This is true. And then after that, it kind of fell apart for him. And that was why he got shown the door and eventually ended up in Pittsburgh. But again, you look at what the Pirates are doing and the draft that they just had and getting Skeens as their number one pick. I would think that he'd want to stay there and see that through and see what eventually develops from it.
True.
All right. And of
Yes.
course, we reached that point of the show where we roll that ticker. And we now go and ask
Wow.
Mr. Louis Tenor. Louis,
Yes.
final thoughts, Louis.
I gotta keep my eye on the American League West. I mean, that is a hot battle on there, and also with the American League East. I mean, those two races, those divisions, that is gonna come down to the wire here. So I'm keeping my eyes on that. I wish I could say the Yankees were in it, but as of today, we're out.
Yeah,
Come on, you know who's gonna do that, guys. Come on, you know,
Up-
6
up
years,
to
you know
last
I've been doing that.
You had hope. Up to last
I
week,
did.
you had hope. You had hope.
I mean, look,
Alejandro,
it's
final
now
thoughts.
been since '09 since the Yankees have been in the World Series. So it now you add another year to that, and I would think that people in the Bronx are starting to get restless about the idea that this team hasn't been in a World Series since '09.
And hopefully
See, I'm
there
gonna go get my
there
hat.
won't be one for. Hopefully there won't be one for as long as I'm alive. That just keeps the streak going. Alejandro, final thoughts, Alejandro.
Only 1 week left, and it's a nail biter. Nail biter. I like the races for the wild cards and both leagues. I like the races for the West. I eventually think Baltimore's going to take the East, but it's been really a cool roller coaster this whole season. Ups and downs, especially for me. I mean, my St. Louis Cardinals got out of contention in March.
May.
But I like it. I like when something comes down to the last minute, right? It just makes baseball exciting.
Yeah, it does bode well for the playoffs to have races come down to the very end. And the other part of it is obviously when we get to next Monday that there will be some managers that will find themselves without employment.
Definitely.
Usually the case. And so it'll be interesting to see how many teams decide to move on from those that have been running their ball clubs. I mean, there was, when you think about this season, there have been no managerial moves.
No.
And yet,
No.
Come Monday, there'll be a few.
Definitely.
John, you just made me think about something. So, the season ends
Sunday, next Sunday.
Yes.
next Sunday, the 30th.
No, next Sunday would be October 1st.
October 1st.
Yeah. Right.
October 1st. So I would, and then Monday, Black Monday, basically.
It would be, yeah. Monday's going to be Black Monday, yes.
So, and then the playoffs don't start till.
I think it's the following day, actually.
The 4th?
The third, the wild card.
Yeah, the next day would be when they start, yeah.
Yeah, the wild cards.
Hold on. Tuesday, the wild cards start.
Yeah.
So I would say, you think it's safe to say we should come on Tuesday to discuss the end of the season, Black
Monday.
We could do that Monday, actually, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. The firing. No, I can't do it Monday. I have the Titan show on Monday.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean,
there'd be some playoff games that would already have taken place on Tuesday based on.
I can do it. I can do it, but it'll have to be an hour because we'll have to go from 6 to 7, or from. We'll figure it out during the week.
Why can't you just flip the football show on Sunday?
Because the game's on Sunday and we recap the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if they play Sunday afternoon, you could just do it Sunday night. That's all.
Yeah, let me figure this out. I'll figure it out maybe with the guys during the week. John, your final thought.
Well, no, my final thoughts would be how many guys do get let go. I mean, what's Black Monday going to look like? It looks like the Guardians may be looking for a new manager. It looks like Terry Francona might walk away because of health issues. What happens with the Mets? Does Buck Showalter get shown the door? And a couple of other places as well. I think that there could be 3, 4, maybe 5 guys that unfortunately find themselves unemployed come Monday morning. Yeah.
One guy that's going to remain there is Craig Counsell, sign an extension.
Yeah.
I think Buck.
And that's very interesting, by the way, because there was a lot of talk that Craig Counsell was going to retire at the end of this year.
But no, I thought he was going to the Mets,
or even going to the Mets too. And so it appears that the Milwaukee Brewers decided to get ahead of the curve and keep him around. He's been very successful with that team, and even though they're going to have to make some moves in the off year, Corbin Burns being, I think, the most prominent one, still they believe the Counsell can still get the job done. I give him credit. So does that mean that Buck gets another shot if Stern takes over in New York? Does Buck get another shot?
So you're saying that Milwaukee made the announcement, Counsell staying?
Yeah, it looks like Counsell's going to stay in Milwaukee. It looks
he just signed an extension.
Yeah, he's decided to stay.
John, another guy that's shining in the minors this year, first round pick for the Braves, Hurston Waldrop.
Again.
Dominated, man. He might be in the Atlanta rotation next year.
He could very well be, and again, it just shows. And again, the Braves are a team that don't get top 10 picks because of where they finish during the regular season. They always are toward the bottom of the first round and the rounds that come up afterwards, and yet they seem to find diamonds in the rough like no one's business.
Yeah, they've been good at that too. My final thoughts go to the place behind me, Camden Yards, a place where losing had become as regular as hot dogs and beer at a baseball.
Oh, it wasn't always that way. You're making it dramatically sound like they've always been losing. It's not always been that way there.
Yeah. When was the last time the Baltimore Orioles, I didn't say, now pay attention to the question. I'm not asking you, when was the last time that the Baltimore Orioles made the playoff? I'm not asking you.
It's 2017.
When was the last time the Baltimore Orioles were a consistently winning franchise?
2017.
No. I did not. You just gave me one season. I said, let me repeat the question.
From up until 2017, the Baltimore Orioles were right there in the American League East. They were right there.
Yeah, that's right.
They were right there.
I think they fired Duquette.
Right, and when that happened is when the wheels fell off.
Yeah,
but right up until that point, they were right there.
Chris Davis, man.
I must be missing something here. I must be missing something here.
2017, I do believe, was the last time the Orioles made the playoffs, and that was.
Yeah. Well, that is so irrelevant now.
True, it is irrelevant now because they survived their window of opportunity when it came to losing. Right, they've opened up a new window of opportunity.
Yes.
That's what they've done.
I love the colors too, man.
Yeah,
I might switch my bird.
Hold on a second here. John's got me.
Yeah, it was 2017.
Yeah.
Give me a second here.
I remember in 2017, I think they beat the Oakland A's in the first round, and they got to the American League Championship Series.
They still paying Chris Davis.
Right, and Davis was a part of that 2017 team.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, how about that? Yeah. I guess for me it just seemed like forever, huh? I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever. That's
Years,
irrelevant now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they just opened up a new window of
I
opportunity.
know
That's
where
what they've
I'm
done.
at. I know where I'm at. I know where I'm at. Okay, I got it. So in 2012, they make the wild card game. They win the wild card game. Then they lose the divisional series to the Yankees. In 2014, they lose the divisional series to the Tigers. No, they won the divisional series. They lost the league championship series they got swept by the Royals. And in 2016, they lose a wild card game. Before
Wasn't
that,
that bad.
No.
hey, listen, this is me talking, okay? I'm talking about the history of Baltimore Orioles that I've known for the last 30 freaking years, okay? So for a run there, 2012, 2014, and 2016, 3 seasons. 2012 was now 12 seasons ago now. Before that, it was 1990. Before that, it was 1997, 96, 97. So I'm right. Okay, so you had a little stretch, 2012, 14, and 16, where the Orioles made the playoffs. Wonderful. They did it before that, was 12, 15 years before that, the 96 and 97 season. And then you have to go back to 1983. So let's go from 1983. We are now in 2023, okay? 40 years of baseball for the Baltimore Orioles. 40 years of baseball. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons in 40 years where they made the playoffs. The Baltimore Orioles suck, and they got used to losing in Baltimore on a regular basis, John. That's what I call losing on a regular basis.
Well, I'd say they've got a window of opportunity that's going to make up for all of
No. I get that. And I'm looking forward to watching the Baltimore. So let me do this again. To the place behind me that in the last 40 years has seen only 5 playoff appearances, meaning they have been a perennial loser over the last 40 years, for most of the better part of the last 40 years. It is going to be wonderful to see them screaming and yelling and having a good time in Camden Yards. I knew. I'm stupid, but I'm not crazy. I knew I wasn't missing something there. This is In the Battery Box, the NGSC Sports Weekly Baseball Show. I'm your host, Rob Garcia, joined by, of course, Louis Tenor, Alejandro Vargas, and John Doucette. Remember the website? It is ngscsports.com, where you catch all of your current content. Remember, like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Please like us on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. And I'll be back tomorrow with the guys, my brother and our cousins. We'll be talking Tennessee Titans against the Cleveland Browns. Woo, was that a horrible football game?
Boy.
That was really
Wow.
weird. That was bad.
Ugly as sin.
Before we leave, I want to touch on something. Congratulations to Ronald Acuna Jr. Accomplishing the 40-40.
Yes.
40-70, like 40-60. Like,
yeah,
still incredible.
No one's ever done that.
No one.
Fantastic season. Thanks for joining us.
Not even a 40-50 season.
Not even a 40-50.
No.
Have a great night.